Hi, good morning. Welcome everybody to this HealthChain webinar. So today we will be introducing the expression of interest for becoming a mirror region. So we are TIC Biomed, the coordinator of the HealthChain project, and we are leading this expression of interest. So let me share with you some housekeeping rules. So this session is being recorded, and then we will upload this webinar recording on our YouTube channel, so you can have free access to the webinar replay. As you can see, your microphones are muted, so you will have your microphone open in case you have any question after the presentation during the Q&A session. During the webinar, I would like to ask you to type your question and main thoughts and concern by using the Q&A box that you have in the bottom of your screen. So feel free to send us all your requests and doubts, so we can address them at the end of the presentation. And also you will have the option to speak in case you have any additional doubts apart from the Q&A box that you will be sending the question. So wait for the moderator to give you the floor during the Q&A session. So now I will want to give the floor to my colleague Miriam, the head of project management at TIC Biomed. So she will be introducing the HealthChain project. So Miriam, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Maria, and welcome everyone, as Maria just mentioned. So today we are going to focus first on explaining what HealthChain is about. Then we are going to move into what we want to achieve with this call for expression of interest. What is the community of practice and why we want to build it? Some practicalities on how to submit a proposal, and also which are the next steps. So what is HealthChain about? What is this project? What do we want to achieve in this project? So HealthChain, it is a project that stays under the instrument I3. I don't know if every one of you knows that. And the aim is to bring together public and private organizations, public and private stakeholders, in order to foster the creation of real ecosystems, in our case, in digital health, and also foster the interregional cooperation with a demand-driven approach. That means that we want to identify which are the needs in the ecosystem, and then through a co-creation process, develop solutions that are or have already a need identified, so we have a better fit in the market, and also to identify which are the funding instruments within the regions and within the national and European framework in order to fund these initiatives. So let's say that if we have to put in a nutshell what HealthChain is about, it is based on participatory innovation. It is like a joint effort between different stakeholders to develop the innovation. We want to connect different European stakeholders. We are not working on a regional approach only, but also interregional approach. So we want the different regions working together and learn from each other. As I said, building this regional ecosystem, it's also a priority. We want to foster the transformation or the digital transformation of healthcare in the regions that are part of the HealthChain project, but also to scale that up through the creation of this community. And also we want to boost the competitiveness of the IT companies, especially on this digital health. So as you can see, there are the three I's of the I3 instrument. It's on the one hand, innovation, then interregional activities, but also investment. And those are the three I's that we have to keep an eye on. So it's not only about developing solutions, but it's also about building the ecosystem. And it's also about making sure that this is sustainable. This effort is sustainable in time. So focusing on the first I, innovation, as I said, we have a demand-driven approach. For us, it is important to identify the need before the development of a solution, because that way we will make sure that that solution responds to an existing need. So there is a market gap there. So we work together with healthcare organizations and with the companies and also patient associations. So the demand side to identify the need. And once the need is identified, it is when we involve all the other stakeholders in the development of the solution. Following the second I, as I said, is the interregional. So far in HealthChain, we have 5 regions involved. You have them listed here. We have East Netherlands in the Netherlands, Primorsko-Goranska in Croatia, Murcia in Spain, Centro in Portugal, and Western in Slovenia. And the aim of this call, as my colleague Elena will explain later, is to bring on board 5 additional regions in order to implement this methodology. So for the interregional component, what we identified, rather than a concrete typology of stakeholders, it is more focused on the role. So we need someone that is able to launch the call for this. Well, first of all, some organization able to identify the need. It's usually a healthcare organization, but it could also be a patient association. But in our case, it's always related to healthcare organizations, either public or private. So some organization able to identify the need. Then we need an organization that is able to launch a call to identify the solver. It could be a regional development agency. It could be a cluster organization. It could be the healthcare organization if they have their own fund and they are allowed by law to launch this kind of calls. So that is what we call the ecosystem supporter. But then we also need a solver, a company that is able to develop this solution. We are always thinking on companies, and because of the requirements of the call, they have to be SMEs. But if we think further on the sustainability, it could also be, for example, a technological center, or it could be a university. For the time being, right now, it has to be an SME because that's how the EU call, the grant agreement, limit us. So you need to think on these 3 different typologies. And going into the third component, the third I, that is investment, what we want is really to leverage the funding that is already available into work innovation at the regional level, but also to identify which are the potential funding that is available at the national or European level. And by putting all that together, we will untap this public or private investment in order to keep on working on demand-driven co-creation at the regional, mainly regional level. So summing up, investment, innovation, and interregional, those are like the key I's for the implementation of the action and what we want to do with HealthChain. So now we are going to move into the second part. That is, if you have any question about HealthChain, I can answer later on. But now we are going to focus on why we want to create this community of practice within HealthChain. And I give the floor to Elena that will further dig in on these activities.
Thank you very much, Miriam. So another objective of the HealthChain project is to develop a community of practice, as I will present in the next slide. Thank you. So the community of practice in HealthChain is looking for other European regions who mirrored the HealthChain model that Miriam just presented, but adapted to their local context and responding to a regional need that has been identified by the healthcare organization, as Miriam explained. So what we are offering initially for the first 5 mirror regions, what we call the early adopters, is personalized support to make that possible, budget for implementation of the model in the region, and budget to launch the open call to award the solvers. Later on, we will also onboard other regions. Up to 15 other partners will join and receive online support, but won't have any financial compensation for that, and will have to do that on their own funding. So that's where we are at the moment, and the benefits of this from our point of view in the next slide are the following. So first of all, you will join, if awarded, a European consortium that is already set up and funded without all the burden, you know, of submitting a proposal. This is already funded. You will be able to access best practices and learnings from other regions to implement the model, with the 5 that are already onboarded in the project, as Miriam mentioned, and the other mirror regions that will also join, up to 5 of them. You will also gain access to an innovative solution for a regional unmet need. The hospital will co-create, hospital or patient association of healthcare organization, as Miriam explained, will be able to actually co-create an innovative solution with an SME for an unmet need that they have and that is not solved at the moment. They will get personalized support to implement the model. We will pass you all the documentation materials and lessons learned that we have achieved with the first 5 regions that are already in the project, and you will access funding of up to 96.3K, 70% reimbursed by the European Commission, and we will go through the budget later on. Next slide, please. So in terms of what you have to do if you become a mirror region. So first of all, we need the challenger, the healthcare organization, to identify an unmet need, a problem that is not currently solved and that could be solved with a digital health solution. And in terms of the expression of interest, this needs to be submitted, at least in raw, as part of your proposal as mirror region. Later on, we can polish it a bit, but you should come with an idea in mind. Then, once you are awarded and onboarded in the project, the ecosystem supporter will launch an open call to find a solver for that need that will co-create with the challenger organization a solution. This will be a financial support to third-party call. It's also commonly called cascade funding, which is basically using the funds provided by the European Commission to award a solver through an open call process. Then, of course, there will be some evaluation of the proposals, and after the summer, in October next year, the challenger and the solver will co-create and pilot that solution for 12 months, and the ecosystem supporter will provide some business support services to help the solver to create a business model and commercialize the solution in other regions to create a go-to-market strategy. Next slide, please. So what is the expression of interest in a nutshell? So if you go to the next slide, probably you have access already. Our webpage is HealthChain-i3.eu, mirror regions dedicated page, and you will see that the deadline to apply is the 30th of November up to 5 p.m. CET. The financial support provided is 96.3K per region, and we will award up to 5 new regions, as previously explained. You have all the information available in the webpage. Next slide, please. In terms of who can express interest, who is eligible to apply, in terms of type of organization, we need them to be a legal entity. Of course, we are not accepting individuals. And initially, we thought that they should be an ecosystem stakeholder. Why? Because these are typically the ones that are in touch with the SMEs and the ones that are able to launch the open call. So regional development agency, clusters, digital innovation hubs. However, after talking to several regions, we are now aware that sometimes the challenger organization, the healthcare organization, can also be the one launching the goal. So in this case, for the type of organization, we would remain flexible, that it could be either the ecosystem stakeholder or the challenger organization, as long as they are able to launch the FSTP call to find the solver company. If there are questions about this, we can discuss later on after the presentation. Then in terms of geography, we are accepting European Union member states, but we are excluding the regions already represented in the HealthChain consortium. These are Murcia in Spain, Centro in Portugal, East Netherlands, Western Slovenia, and Primorsko-Goranska in Croatia. Therefore, other regions in those same countries can apply, but those regions are excluded as they are already covered by the consortium. In terms of regional links, a mirror region needs also to prove that there is a link with other organizations, ecosystem supported and healthcare organizations, to work together in the model. They need to be able to identify an unmet need related to the digitalization of healthcare, and at the same time that is related to the smart specialization strategy of the region. So that would be it in a nutshell. Next slide, please. In terms of budget, you can see this in the expression of interest document. There, as you will become partner of the project, you will have to report the cost you have incurred, and then the European Commission reimburse that 70%, which means that we will onboard one of the regional partners, the one able to launch the call, as a partner. The other will not be funded nor part of the consortium. We'll need to reach an internal agreement with the regional stakeholder that becomes partner to implement the model, but without being part of the consortium. And the solver, as I mentioned before, will be selected through the FSTP code. This means that in terms of budget, you have 38,000 in terms of personnel budgeted, 2,000 in terms of travels budgeted, and 50,000 for the financial support to third parties. That is what the solver receives. All of this is also complemented by indirect costs that it's a flat rate over the others cost, a total of 6.3K euros. But as I said, this is 70% funded by the European Union. So if you can show the next table. Therefore, in the documents we have included these other tables to be fully transparent with you. This means that the 50K to the solver needs to be paid in full. So 50K will go from your account to the account of the selected solver if they perform the work that you are expecting them to do. Which would mean that for the other categories, you will actually receive less money in your account because you want to fund those 50K for the company in full. Therefore, you will be left with 12.35K for personnel and 650 for travels. Together with the indirect costs, that will be 4.41K in indirect costs. That means that actually, if you manage to justify all the budget, you will receive in your account 50K that should be transferred fully to the solver, and 17.41K for you as a beneficiary on cost. That's what it is in a nutshell. You are probably thinking that the budget is not too high, which is true, but because we've implemented this model, sometimes without providing the mirror regions any funding, just leveraging their own funds, and they've been able to do so. So we are trying to provide some incentive, but we don't want that the economic support to make this possible is the only reason why mirror regions apply to this expression of interest, but because they also have a strategic interest on this type of innovation model. In addition, I want to mention that in terms of work, we are not expecting mirror regions to act as full partners of the project, in the sense that you won't need to travel to all the meetings. You only will have to travel once in a networking meeting to meet other mirror regions and the HealthChain partners. That's why the budget is relatively low for that category. And in terms of personnel, we plan to send you all the materials almost ready, based on the experience that we've had within the project, so that you simply need to adapt those to your local context and don't have to develop everything from scratch. For instance, for the FSTP call, you will be receiving those documents from TIC Biomed, and then simply adapt to your local context. Next slide, please. How will mirror regions be selected? As you can read in the guidelines, there are certain criteria that you need to comply with. So in terms of eligibility, we will do a prior check as TIC Biomed, and only eligible proposals will pass to the, let's say, technical evaluation. That is what is shown now on the screen. We will evaluate TIC Biomed as coordinator of the HealthChain project, the proposals based on these three criteria: impact, relevance, and quality. The most important one is impact, and then relevance and quality have the same weight. We will rank all the proposals based on these three criteria and develop a total ranking. It's important to mention that it's a threshold for each criteria, so you need to reach at least 3 out of 5 in all of those criteria. If you don't reach one of the thresholds, your proposal will be discarded, and we will move to the next one in the ranking list. And for proposals above the threshold, we will prioritize less developed and in transition regions over more developed, because within HealthChain, we are also planning to bring new players and new regions to test new innovative approaches that they can leverage for the growth of the region. All the criteria are described in the guidelines, but just for you to know what we will be looking at in terms of impact, is that it has an impact during the project and also a lasting impact beyond the project end, that the links that you have created actually stay in the region, and that patients, professionals in the region benefit from innovation in the long term. In terms of relevance, we are particularly interested in seeing, as described in the document, how your proposal fits with the HealthChain model and objectives that Miriam has presented. And finally, for quality, that you overall have a good plan to implement the model, as you will describe in the proposal. That's it in a nutshell. Next slide, please. Okay, in terms of how to express interest, everything is published in the website, so you will need to fill an online form detailing who are the regional stakeholders in your region, which is the unmet need that you have identified, and then which is your plan to implement the model, or to launch the open call, to co-create, and so on. There is a Word template for you to look at in advance and to start perhaps filling in with all the regional stakeholders, but that you need to paste in that online form before the deadline and submit. Okay, just to be clear on that. And then there is also an endorsement letter. There is a template available, and the idea for this, well, this is a request by the European Commission, and the I3 programs also requested that to the regions that are already in HealthChain when we submitted the proposal, and all new regions have to comply with that. that the objective of this letter is that the regional authority that deals with the smart specialization strategy in the region says that they support your proposal and that you are actually aligned with the S3 strategy of the region. However, as we know by experience that this might take some time, we will value those regions that are able to provide it as part of their proposal in the expression of interest, but not submitting it is not a reason for discarding your proposal. We will just prioritize those who have the endorsement letter. The reason behind this is that if you get awarded, you will only be able to sign the grant agreement, the contract with the commission, if you have this endorsement letter. So we want to speed up the process, and that's why we are asking it to you in advance. But still, if you don't manage, we will evaluate your proposal and ask you, if awarded, to have it as ready as soon as possible. Okay. Next slide, please. In terms of the next steps after the deadline of the expression of interest, we will be evaluating all the proposals in December, and then we will communicate the results of the expression of interest by December or January next year. Then for the awarded regions, we will invite them to sign the contract to become a HealthChain partner between January and February, and you will start the implementation in March. This means onboarding the project, getting to know the model more in detail, and prepare the open call that you need to launch regionally to find a solver. Next slide, please. In terms of next steps, before we move to the Q&A slot, you will have to read the expression of interest documents. All of them are available in our website. Then if you have any question, we invite you to contact either Miriam or myself. You can see here our email. Then prepare your proposal and submit before the deadline, that is the 13th of November at 5 p.m. So please submit on time so that we can onboard the selected mirror regions by January. And that's it from my side. I hope it's clearer than reading directly in the documents, and we are here to answer any questions that you may have. Okay, so I can start reading the questions in case they are relevant for anybody. My colleague Miriam has been answering some of them. So first of all, one participant asked whether the regions could be from the same countries that are already represented in the project. For example, other region different for Murcia, but also in Spain. Yes, that is correct. As long as it is not Murcia, other regions in Spain are eligible to participate. Then another question was, the Q&A. Okay, now. Are you considering to foster early stage pre-seed, seed, Series A investments in innovative health technology companies that are part of the HealthChain programs that can provide investors with attractive returns while making a positive social impact? Perhaps, Miriam, you would like to get this one?
Sorry, I was trying to answer the next question and I wasn't paying attention. So the one regarding the investment?
Yes.
Yeah, I answered two questions regarding the investment. So when we mentioned that one of the I's of the I3 instrument is investment, it is more focused on, let's say, public investment or get the sources to make the HealthChain scheme or the HealthChain methodology sustainable in time, but also to provide the healthcare organization with enough funding or enough resources to procure and adopt the solutions. Because what happens sometimes is like we are working in pilots, we develop the solutions, but then they don't reach the market. They are not scale up. So when we talk about investment, it's mainly like regional investment, more in terms of policies than private investment. Nevertheless, one of the activities that is included in HealthChain is to provide support to the companies that are co-creating the solution with the healthcare organizations. And among those services, it is included the support to the companies to, let's say, provide guidelines on which is the best way to approach investors in the healthcare market, also to identify investors in the healthcare market, and even events that are focused on investment on the healthcare sector. But let's say that we don't really focus on, let's say, matchmaking the companies with private investors. We will provide guidelines and we will facilitate, let's say, the access to these investors, but it's not like the priority.
Thank you, Miriam. Then to complement what Miriam said, and she's been replying that to the participant interested in investment, is that we will facilitate that reflection for the company in terms of private investment. But when we talk about the investments, it's also about leveraging other investment, perhaps public investment like ERD funds, to implement the model in the region beyond the project. So that once the project has finished, it's actually sustainable in the region. So it's not only with helping the companies to secure funding to sell their solutions elsewhere, which is also an objective, but to study which investments can be leveraged for the model and for the regional links created within that region. Okay. Then we can move to the next question, perhaps. Who is going to evaluate the solvers? Will every ecosystem supported evaluate the healthcare organization from its ecosystem? So the idea is that each beneficiary, the project beneficiary that leads the activities in the region, prepares the open call for the company with the specific criteria and so on, and select the company that suits best or that solves best the unmet need identified by the healthcare organization. Therefore, the ecosystem supported and the healthcare organization need to come together in this proposal, in this expression of interest, and they jointly evaluate the proposals that come from the SME. I don't know if that's clear. If it's not clear, please let us know and we can elaborate on that. Okay, and I think that's it for the question. Okay, we have a new one. May the SME solvers beneficiary of FSTP fundings come from the mirror region? Yes, that's correct. The solvers that can apply to the open calls can be for any of the HealthChain regions. This is for any mirror region or from any other regions already included in the consortium. The 5 that Miriam presented: Murcia, Centro in Portugal, Primorsko-Goranska in Croatia, West and Slovenia, or East Netherlands. So from those 5 regions, or for the new 5 regions that will be selected through the mirror regions. Other countries and regions will be excluded. Okay, are there any other
there's some other questions. I have just answered one, and it's I guess it is healthcare organization by HE, the healthcare organization and the ecosystem, the same organization. Yes, just please have in mind that the beneficiary or what we have called ecosystem supporter has to be able to launch a call and manage a call. That is like a requisite, and they have to identify a healthcare organization that it is able to perform the co-creation. Okay, I don't know if it is clear, but please, if it is not, just ask again. Yeah, there are some other unread. Elena, if you want to go through it, correct me if I'm wrong. Well, Elena is answering that one.
No problem. It's the same that you just answered.
Yeah, well, this is a slightly different. It's like if a healthcare SME could be considered as ecosystem supporter. As I explained in the concept of the HealthChain methodology, it could be, but for this call, from my point of view, it doesn't make any sense because the beneficiary, it is the SME. So, but they will be the beneficiary of the call that is going to be launched. So it doesn't make any sense. So the beneficiary cannot, if it is the beneficiary of the expression of interest, it is an SME, they will not be able to submit a proposal for the call. So I don't know, Massimiliano, we can further explain it, but it doesn't make any sense to me. The next question is, can we have a tech company for the region in Spain and having development pilot action in Italy? Yes, but only from the regions in Spain that are part of the HealthChain consortium, as Elena explained. So far, we only have as a region Murcia, so you will only be able to get a company from Murcia developing this solution. If, for example, we enlarge and we, after this expression of interest call, we have a region, I don't know, we bring on board Galicia, let's say, then you could have a company from Galicia. This is due the regional approach of the program, of the I3 program. Elena, if you want to address.
Yeah, so can you mute yourself, Miriam?
You don't mind. Thanks. So our Western Balkan countries are priority for this call, especially for those less developed in digital health. In general, all European member states with regions that are classified as less developed or in transition are a priority for this call over those that are more developed. If you don't know how your region classify in the expression of interest documents, you can see a link. That is the official document from the European Commission on the classification of each region. You could check which region you belong to and whether you are classified as less developed, in transition, or more developed. Okay, the next
one.
Over to you, Miriam.
No, okay. I was going to answer the one regarding a biomedical research center linked to a hospital. Might present a proposal. Again, if this biomedical research center, it is able to launch a call and they can show that they work together with the hospital, and this hospital, it's able to put in place a co-creation process, no problem at all.
Perfect. So it seems that we've replied all of the questions. If there are new questions, you can introduce them or raise your hand and we will unmute your microphone. Okay, there's the new questions. And please, can you say this link to check out the regional positioning? Yes, we will enter it in the chat. You can also see it in the documentation that is available on the website. When it explains who can express interest, types of beneficiaries, and eligible countries, this will be page number 10. You have the links to all this information. I will enter it in the chat so that you can have a look. Perfect. So entering in the chat now, and I see a hand raised. We will open the microphone. Martin, please.
Hola, Elena. Thank you. I was curious about let's say the gaps between different phases that you presented. Could you remind us what happened next? Because I have a feeling that there's some big gaps between like task 1, task 2, task 3, etc. Thank you.
You mean after the expression of interest, the task to be developed?
Yeah. I mean, once somebody wins the project, then I think that there was something that ends in March, and then there's like nothing happening for
Okay,
quite a while. Yeah, thank you so much.
perfect. So if you can go back to the second slide of the community of practice. Okay, we will see it here. It's the previous one, I think.
No, well, when there were some months presented.
Yeah,
like
next one. That is the one.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So you have in the documentation all the timeline. But just to briefly explain it, it's true that it seems that we have a vacation, right, from after March. So the expression of interest ends in November, right? We evaluate TIC Biomed the proposals in December. Then in January, we contact those organizations that are awarded and invite them to sign the contract. They sign the contract with us between January and February, and then in March, we start the implementation.
Elena?
Yes?
Elena? Apologies. And now it's clear. I think I just misread something. So now I can see that all goes in the right way, like March, September, October, etc. So sorry, I take
No
back my
problem.
questions. Sorry for that.
No problem at all. But just for the rest, in case it's not 100% clear to you, so we will launch the call March, April. This has to be open for 2 months, just for the companies, the solvers, to submit a proposal. And then we will have to arrange internally the HealthChain consortium with the mirror regions to set up the evaluation of those proposals. And then contact again those awarded companies onboarded on the project, which might take some time, as you probably know, and then start the actual co-creation, working challenger, solver, and ecosystem supporter by October. So that's why. And we didn't want it to start during the summer, because we know that it's a challenging period for everybody to work during the holiday season. So that's a little bit the rationale behind the timeline. Okay, thank you. It seems that we have more questions now in the Q&A box. So the first question is, should the ecosystem supporter have previous experience in launching the goal? It's not a prerequisite, but it will be valued. As you can see in the documents, we will value the previous experience of participants, and you will need to elaborate a little bit about this in the proposal that you submit. And then on the second question, what does it mean for the ecosystem supporter to be able to launch a call? Are there legal restrictions to that? It means that you should be able to watch an open call procedure following the European Commission guidelines on financial support to third parties. This is basically, it's a grant, it's not a procurement, not anything like that. It's taking money from the European Commission and giving it that to a company in exchange of certain objectives that in this case would be to co-create a solution for the unmet need identified by the hospital. That would be the idea. Miriam, if you want to continue with the rest, as I see that you have already replied.
Yeah, I have to go back to it. Sorry, yeah, the other one was if the NGO of the medical law could be an ecosystem supporter. I need to understand a little bit more, but to start with, what we said is they really need to be able to launch a call, and have links with a healthcare organization. So if you want to address that in private, or we can set the call just to better understand which is the profile of the organization. Okay. Then the next one is what are the types of activities that the solvers and beneficiaries have to implement? So the beneficiary that is going to be the organization that is going to sign the grant agreement, they should be able to launch the call, to manage that, and to overview, let's say, the co-creation process between the healthcare organization and the solver. The solver has to develop a solution together with the healthcare organization. Those are, like, again, in a nutshell, their responsibilities. Okay. Nevertheless, the next question is like, if the ecosystem supporter has to govern the process, the idea is the ecosystem supporter, so-called the beneficiary of the grant agreement, they have to overview the whole process of the implementation, but it is not isolated, because as a consortium, we would have already developed a methodology, we would have already developed materials, and we are also providing business support services that all the new ecosystems can benefit from. So it is not that you are doing that on your own, but the idea is that when the project ends, you will be able, or you will have the capacity to launch the call or to launch the process yourself within any support. So let's say that this is a little bit capacity building as well. Yeah, I think there are some more questions that yeah, there is this question of the 50,000 euros for the solution can be complemented with internal funds for a larger solution. Yes, you can, but the call that you have to launch has to specify that 50,000 euros will come from this funding, and then you can put on top additional funding. We have already done that, but think that the limitation that we have within the financial framework, it is that we cannot fund more than 60,000 euros. But yes, you can launch the call for a larger quantity, specifying which part comes from the, let's say, from the I3 funding, and which part comes from your own funding. And then as a metro region, do we have to submit having yet identified a healthcare organization and its unmet need? Yes, because that will be the criteria. I mean, the feasibility, that's the only way for us to evaluate which is the degree of innovation. So we need to know that you have links with the healthcare organization and that you have an unmet need. Although maybe the unmet need, it's not really well developed, but at least which is the idea behind the unmet need. Am I right, Elena?
Indeed, that's the you will see in the proposal form
that you need to identify that healthcare organization, to specify a little bit on the unmet needs, and then a plan on how you will work together. We understand that it's relatively a short time to do so, but as I said, you can have the unmet need quite in raw, and then if you're awarded, we can work on polishing that need prior to the publication of the call for the company. That in that case, the unmet need needs to be quite clear, with clear requirements of what digital solutions you will be willing to see and how they can solve your problem. Okay.
Yeah, there's another question saying like as a hospital, you will get the solution for your unmet need, but you won't receive financial support for the contribution. Okay, here, if the beneficiary is the hospital, because you can launch the call. I mean, as someone asked before, what do we mean by being able to launch the call? And what we have learned after being working on these kind of schemes for the last, I think, 7 years, is like some healthcare organizations are not able to launch a call because that could be considered a procurement process. So there are like different requirements that have to apply. But if as a hospital you are able to launch a call and to put in place this, let's say, process, what you have to justify here, it is not that you have a link with the hospital, but you have a link with the ecosystem, let's say. But as a hospital, you can launch the call and you will be beneficiary of the, we know it's not a big contribution, as Elena explained, but you will be beneficiary of that financial contribution. If it is the ecosystem will be, let's say, organization will receive the money to manage the call, to launch the call, and to overview the whole process. Okay, and the healthcare organization will not receive any funding, but I mean, might get an agreement with the company developing the solution to get the solution in better terms, let's say, of for the implementation of the solution. The idea is that the solutions that are co-created are finally used by the hospitals. So the hospitals will have a solution that is fully adjusted to their needs.
Yeah, and complementing
That in our experience, in some cases, the healthcare organizations have, so to say, their salaries covered, and they would be willing to work in the co-creation of a solution if it's of their something that they really want and want to implement in the region, and would be willing to work there even without a financial contribution. Of course, it will be more competitive if we provide so, but this is what it is, and we will provide all the funding for the company. Okay, and there's a new question saying, could you please show again the slide with the budget? If you can, Miriam, or if not, I can open the document so that you can see. Yeah, let me share the screen so that you can see the document we are referring to all the time. So in the HealthChain website, you will be able to download this one, expression of interest to become a HealthChain member region, version number 2.1. Here you can see all the information that we have provided in the presentation, but in detail, very extended. And you can see the budget in this section, budget of family region. It's exactly the same that we presented. So this is the budget that will be included in the contract. This is as it is, but we wanted to detail it a bit more, the implication of that 70% reimbursement by the European Commission, what it entails. As I explained, the 50K for the companies needs to be paid in full to that company. So that means that for the other categories, so if you want to be reimbursed this 100%, for the others, the reimbursement rate would be actually lower because everything is reimbursed at 70%. Which would mean that for your personnel costs and for your travel and subsistence, you will actually get this. So if you manage to justify all the budget, that is this, the reimbursement will be this. This is funds in your account. Let us know if it's clear or if you want to us to explain a little bit more. All the presentations will be provided in the HealthChain website and also the recording, as my colleague Maria mentioned in the beginning. Okay, if there are no further questions, I leave my colleague Maria to close the session. And we want to thank you very much for your interest.
Yeah, thank you very much, everybody, for joining us today. And as I just type in the chat, you will receive a follow-up email after the meeting, where you will find the webinar replay and the link to the presentation and all the details from the expression of interest for mirror regions. So stay tuned and good luck to apply for this call. So the deadline, I remind you that the deadline is the 13th of November. So if you have any question, just contact us, contact Elena or Miriam, and you will find also their emails in their email addresses in the Mirror Region webpage. So anything you need and any further details, just contact us. Okay, so thank you very much.
Thank you, Maria. Have a nice day, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.